If I were to ask you the question to name me a website that was all about Godzilla and other kaiju facts and information, I guarantee many of you probably thought of the Wikipedia-themed websites like Wikizilla or Gojipedia. And I can't blame you if you did. I mean, what doesn't have a Wikipedia nowadays? But I want to take you back to a time before all the wikis dominated the top search results on Google. To a time when dedicated fans made their own websites with passion and care, though I guess you could say the wikis are like that too. Now there's a lot of Godzilla fan sites out there, but for this video I'm only going to focus on the ones that I have the most nostalgia for. So with that said, sit back, stand up, or wherever you're watching this from, and let's dive in. The first website I want to look into is Barry's Temple of Godzilla. This is one of the great granddaddies of Godzilla fan sites, going back as far as 1996. Yeah, just as old as the internet. You might think this site is primitive because of its age, and you wouldn't be completely wrong on that, but it's still a fun little site you can play around on. Let's look at the sidebar here. One thing that always caught my attention right away was the video clips. The page consists of all the Godzilla movies up to Against Mechagodzilla, or Mechagodzilla 3 as he calls it. I remember back when you'd click on one of these, a separate window would open up and you'd view the clip. Now it seems to just download it to your computer and yeah, I don't think I'll be needing this. The sound clips page, I can't seem to get anything to work that isn't a monster noise, so I guess no Raymond Burr lines for me. Let's look at the rumors page. Wow, TriStar is going to be releasing Godzilla movies on both DVD and VHS? Damn, I better get my VCR out of storage. Yeah, as you can see here, the site really hasn't been touched on in quite a while, or at least not as long as you think. In 2014, when the first Legendary movie came out, Barry actually made an update on his website for a review of the movie. When I was revisiting this website, this really caught me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie, it was really neat reading a brand new review from this guy. And he seems to have really enjoyed the movie a lot. I wonder if he still feels that way towards it now like everyone else does. Obviously, we've had more movies come out since then, and with no reviews to be found, I'm taking a safe guess that the site is now long in retirement. If you're listening to this, Barry, thank you for a great website and memories. The Godzilla Tower is a very odd fan site, in a good sense. Well, this really screams early 2000s. There's not as much here as there was in Barry's, but there's definitely some unique links here. I'm sure the Monster Museum is catching your attention, so let's jump right into that. The monsters are categorized in Toho, Daiei, Cartoon, and so on. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this layout. You click on a monster, it takes you to a page of said creature, and you're blasted with an image and information on it. Though the info the site holders would put down is kinda questionable at times. For one, if there's no confirmed height or mass of a creature, they would just put an educated guess, or even write something like really big and really heavy. The monster powers are also written down, and even their regular abilities to punch and kick. The weaknesses stats are often sometimes taken as jokes, and the pictures I wouldn't say are the most highest of quality, though for its time I can forgive it on that. You might have noticed the asterisks next to the creatures. If there's one thing unique about this site is that it has its own power scaling chart. The asterisks represent the strength of a creature. The higher the number, the stronger the beast. They would even give little information on why they think the monsters got the number they did. Admittedly, these are pretty fun to read, even if they are strongly opinion based. They used to have a video game section, but that's long since gone, and the only remnants of that are Donkey Kong's page, which is still around only because they paired him with King Kong's page. Speaking of video games, there's an arcade tab here which takes you to some game reviews, as well as links to internet games, which I wouldn't trust at this point. The movie review section is pretty funny. Here you see the asterisks again, and like you'd expect, the higher the number, the better the movie. And again, I do like how it categorizes the movies here, being Toho, American movies, and so on. Each review features poster art, or should I say VHS art, along with a little tagline from one of the reviewers. After a short review, there would be a summary on the bottom with the good and bad parts of the film, at least from the reviewer's perspective. These were pretty funny to read. Let's look at this one on Ghidorah, where he says the effects are good, but then makes fun of things like Godzilla's jiggly eyes and the rubber rocks. Also, too much human plot, not enough monsters. Hey, that's kinda how some of the fan base is today with movies. The summary for Godzilla vs. Megalon makes it seem like the reviewer had trouble finding anything good to say on the film. GMK is often considered one of the best entries in the franchise, so it's surprising to see it has the lowest score in the Millennium series. From what I'm reading, I guess it's because he didn't like the designs of the creatures, so I guess an instant 2 out of 5. If you scroll down the bottom of the page, you can spot a close but not quite monster movies, where you'll see a ton of mini reviews of movies the team didn't think were quite monster movie enough. They're still scored, however, and even have reasons why they don't think they're giant monster movies, like this one on Atragon because Manda's barely in it. And that's fair enough. I mean, Atragon's more of a sci-fi thriller than a monster movie anyway. Some of them are listed for silly reasons like being a cartoon, or because they're rated R. I don't know how the rating system affects it not being a monster movie, but whatever. There's a fun little quiz section to test your Godzilla knowledge. There's a fanfic page if you care about such things, and the World Monster Wrestling page, which really had fun matches to read. I remember there was kind of a story with the Ultraman kaiju called King of Monsters gathering the evil monsters like Gabra to join them. Sadly though, a lot of these are gone, with only a handful still remaining. The site is pretty much a relic of its time, but I still had a lot of fun coming back to this one. Toho Kingdom's a site I'm sure needs no introduction by most of you. Unlike every fan site in this video, this one is actually still updating. Not only does it talk about Godzilla, it goes into any and everything Toho either made or distributed. The site also goes into home video releases, books, games, really anything with Godzilla's name on it. They even have little fun articles like Godzilla's love interests. Yes, these are real things. Ever heard of Bijira, anyone? They even have their own monster wrestling battles, which are fun to read, but I feel go on a little too long at times. The site also has its own cartoons, comics, games, it really has it all. It even has its own Godzilla-themed D&D board game, which I guess would be fun, but my time is crunched as it is, so I guess I'll never be trying this out. The cutting room page consists of projects that never saw the light of day, as well as the creatures that never came to be. It's actually thanks to the Volcano Monsters article here that I actually wanted to start doing videos on YouTube, as dumb as that sounds. A great memory I have of this site was back in 2007 when Godzilla Unleashed was coming out. The site would have this little chart that would show the monsters that were added to the game and the percentage of the others that might make it in. I remember coming to this site every day and being excited to see which new characters were added. It's kind of like how people react to Super Smash Bros. Characters being added. Man, those were good memories. One thing this site does, which not many can do, are interviews. They talk with actors, celebrities, distributors. I mean, the staff really go above and beyond on who they can talk to. I haven't even scratched the surface here. There really is a lot you can do on this website. And the fact that it consistently updates almost every day, you're never really going to run out of things to look up here. And I guess since they are still updating, I'm kind of giving them free advertisement here. But I don't care, this site is awesome, and I hope it keeps going for many more years to come. The last website I want to look up is the Monster Archives. Unfortunately, the website seems to have shut down, so we're going to need the Wayback Machine for this one. It does bring up the site, but all the entries don't have their pictures. So to keep this from being too boring, I'll just add some footage of monster trailers down here. The Monster Archives was probably my favorite Godzilla fan site back in the day. It was more than just Godzilla. It had anime, tokusatsu shows, and plenty of film monsters. I actually got inspired to make a monster book because of this website. Though it didn't take me long to give up on that though. Anyways, the site is as it's called. Just a big website with almost any monster you can think of, with over thousands of entries. I remember it had 1,000 submissions because they proudly wrote their 1,000th submission being Pen from Evangelion. I also remember the site had its own monster wrestling matches, but with no real warning they took that down. Same with their movie review section. The site strictly became a monster museum only. And that was fine, but the variety would have been nice. Another thing I remember is that they used to have a Sci-Fi Channel TV guide showing only when monster movies were playing. When I was a young fan, I used to record monster movies on VHSs at the time, so I always found this guide really helpful. From what I remember, the website used to update monthly, usually having a huge list of added creatures. I believe if there was a holiday within the month, they would usually release the update then. I was always looking forward to coming to the site in October, only because they would do an update every single day. It would only just be a monster every day, but sometimes they would add more than one. I personally didn't like when they added tokusatsu creatures from Ultraman and such, and that's only because at the time I didn't have any way to watch those shows. Thankfully, that's no longer an issue now. I really do miss this site, and it's really sad to see it's gone now. At least my memories of it will live on, as cheesy as that sounds. And there you have it, 4 of my childhood fan sites I used to go on a lot in my younger days, when I had time to fool around on the internet. There were other sites I used to go on a lot too, but I really couldn't remember the names of those because it's, been too long. Anyways, do you guys have favorite fan sites you go on? If so, let me know. I'd love to hear about them in the comments below. With that said, I thank you all so much for watching towards the end, and take care.
Everything you ever want to know about Godzilla was great to ask. For those of you who've been tuning in, we have now the famous Godzilla online database. You can find out something about any Godzilla movie ever made. There will be VR ML chat rooms, a new Shockwave game, and many, many more items. So check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for coming back.